The Galapagos Islands are unique. They are probably the only place in the world where we can get a flavor of how the world was before humans. Imagine the Galapagos Islands through the eyes of Charles Darwin. On his arrival in 1835, he wrote that he had entered a world unto itself, teeming with species found nowhere else on Earth, such as the land iguana, the giant tortoise, and many types of finches. Darwin found a world of specialized creatures that had adapted to their harsh environment in an amazing variety of ways. The Galapagos sea lion is the most common mammal native to the islands. The total population is estimated at around 50,000 animals. Males are brown in color, females tend to be a lighter tan, and juveniles are typically chestnut brown. The sea lions you see here seem to be relaxing comfortably. In reality, sea lions expend a great deal of energy looking for food. They typically spend up to 16 hours per day hunting. Lying here on the beach, they are resting and also recovering from oxygen debt. The brown pelican is found throughout the Galapagos Islands, skimming over water, plunge diving, and resting in mangrove trees. The Galapagos population of the brown pelican is said to be an endemic species of the pelican bird. Brown pelicans build their nests in mangrove trees or in low-lying coastal bushes.
Or at least they're colorful. In between.
Here we see a male lava lizard sunning in the sand. This is a typical activity when they are not catching insects and other small invertebrates. The female lava lizard is readily distinguishable from the male by her red throat coloration. Lava lizards are found on all the major islands, but only a single species is found on any one island. Males typically do push-ups. It's a behavior that indicates territorial ownership. The rate of maturation is very different between male and female lizards. The male lizards mature in 9 months, whereas it takes female lizards up to 3 years to reach maturity. The endemic Galapagos marine iguana is the world's only seagoing lizard. But in spite of its adaptations to swimming and feeding on the sea bottom, the creatures are still basically land animals. Marine iguanas use their tails to propel them. They feed exclusively on marine algae. Big male iguanas can dive as deep as 40 feet and stay underwater for up to 30 minutes. Before feeding underwater, the iguanas must lie in the sun to raise their body temperature. Once underwater, they cling to the bottom with their long clawed toes and graze on the algae covering the rocky sea floor. Because of the cold Humboldt Current, which runs along the west coast of South America, the sea is surprisingly cold, even at the equatorial latitudes of the Galapagos. As a result, the marine iguanas may lose as much as 20 degrees of their body heat on extended dives, necessitating another round of sunning upon their return to shore. That is why we see so many of them sunning. You might note the patches of white on their heads. The marine iguanas have evolved special salt excretion glands that allows them to get rid of the excess salt that's taken in as they graze underwater. The white patches are salt crust, formed when the iguana sneezes, expelling a mist of salt spray. The marine iguana has few natural enemies. It is not relished by man for food or other predators, perhaps because of its diet of algae or its excess salt content. Biologists estimate the total marine iguana population in the islands to be between 200 and 300,000, and they can be seen in abundance in many places, as here on these rocks. A common sight along the rocky Galapagos shorelines is the extremely colorful Sally Lightfoot crab. When visitors get too close, these brightly colored invertebrates scuttle away to safety in cracks and behind rocks because they are prey to many shorebirds. Among the unusual list of Galapagos birds, we find an endemic seabird. The swallowtail gull has a very distinctive black head with a red ring around its eyes. It has a black bill with a gray tip. Its forked tail is white and the webbed feet are red. They sometimes have white spots on their backs. These spots help them camouflage in their rocky cliff habitats. Endemism in seabirds is very low due to their high dispersal ability, but given the right conditions, the resulting adaptations are very interesting. Generally, gulls are diurnal, gregarious, meaning they're very social, they're scavengers, opportunistic, and frequently seen in human-related areas, and typically nest in more inland locations. In Galapagos, the swallowtail gull is the world's only night-feeding gull. It pursues live animals at open sea, like squid and nocturnal fish. It is not a social hunter, and it nests along the coastline or in some cases in cliffs. It feeds anywhere from 10 to 20 miles away from the shoreline. These features make them quite different from all other gull species, and thus its endemic status. The Galapagos hawk is the major native predator of most islands in the Galapagos. It is also an endemic species. This buzzard-like bird will feed on lava lizards, snakes, young marine iguanas, chicks of seabirds, and other small vertebrates. The Nazca boobies are the largest of the 3 species of boobies found on the Galapagos Islands. Usually they lay and hatch 2 eggs, but only 1 chick will survive. Like other oceanic island systems, the Galapagos Islands are fragile. Its biodiversity is susceptible to invasive species, overexploitation, climate change, and pollution. Thus far, the biodiversity has been remarkably well conserved despite human interaction on the islands. Significant human settlements of the Galapagos did not occur until the 1900s, making it possible for 97% of the island's original biodiversity to remain today. However, human activities have caused some changes in the Galapagos. Some species, such as giant tortoises, were over-harvested and their populations are still recovering today. Sea lions, seabirds, marine turtles, and other marine life species are caught in the lines and nets of large-scale commercial fishing boats. In addition, many invasive mammal and plant species were introduced and are currently the major threat to native terrestrial biodiversity. Today, there are new demands on the biodiversity of the islands. The islands are in an accelerating cycle of economic and population growth driven by an increase in tourism. This has in turn increased threats to biodiversity because of the greater probability of invasive species being introduced and also an increase in pollution. If a balance can be achieved which meets both the needs of humans and of the natural world in the Galapagos, the archipelago can serve as a model for sustainability for the whole world.